My name's Sam Fawcett, and I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about the Ocean Alkalinity Enhancement Environmental Impact Monitoring Framework that we've been putting together over the last couple of years. This particular project was funded by Calm to Sea, so a very big thank you to them for doing so and really advancing this element of the field. And I'd like to just start by saying thank you very much to everybody that's already engaged with this project. We've had a couple of periods of peer review that we've been through, as well as a workshop at this convening last year. So a really big thank you to everybody that's been involved thus far. So the Environmental Monitoring Framework is a publication it's almost complete, but it's in progress, and it's aimed to address a very important gap in the field at the moment around the unique environmental risks of different approaches to OAE and how these risks might be mitigated and monitored in the field. As you might expect, this is quite challenging because there's an awful lot of dependencies with that question, not least surrounding the feedstock and how, where, how much and how often you're adding the feedstock to the environment, but also things about the unique regulatory environment of any particular site you're operating in, as well as any unique concerns that may emerge from the community. So it's a very big task, but I'm very pleased and proud of how far we've come. And I'm pleased to report that I think we've hopefully got some preprint versions available at the convening this week that people can have a little flick through and have a little look and have a bit of a digest of it as well. I would like to stress, however, that although we do have the preprint available, this is intended very much to be a living document. No, so it's not just like a, bam, here you go, take it and leave it. It's very much intended to be updated as learnings from, hopefully, future field trials begin to emerge. So the framework itself is designed to be very easily accessible to quite a diverse audience, inclusive of practitioners, researchers, and regulators alike. And this not only means that the technical content needs to be easily accessible, but the structure of the document and how it's navigated as well. So with that in mind, the first portion of the document refers to sort of the how, and the second bit is the what, and then the how. And this specifically covers the kind of, the first portion, specifically covers environmental monitoring recommendations, and the second portion is then more focused on practical guidance and practical implementation of that guidance. We kept a number of guiding principles in mind when we were putting this framework together. So the first and foremost is that monitoring is not a suitable substitute for risk mitigation. You cannot out-monitor risks once they've already occurred, and actually the most significant steps for environmental safety will often happen in the planning, siting, and preparation and dispersal design stages of any particular perturbation. The framework itself follows a staged and gated approach, which means to guide field trials as they begin to scale up. I'll go into more detail about that in a second. But the framework itself also draws on the best available scientific and operational knowledge that we had available at the time, and is obviously ongoing being included as well. And the scope of the document, just to say, it specifically focuses on OAE, not all MCDR pathways, but it does reflect the many different ways that OAE can actually be added to the environment. And lastly, we really wanted to be pragmatic with this. So this document aims to balance the scientific rigor that's needed with these operations with the practical realities of actually operating in quite a dynamic marine environment. So a little bit more about that phased and gated approach. So the main point here that I want to iterate is that you proceed with a series of steps. And at each, at each step, you will ask yourself the question, is what I'm doing safe and not causing any unacceptable environmental damage? But also, is it effective? Am I actually achieving what I want to achieve? And this may mean that some low-risk trials will require less intensive monitoring compared to the kind of larger scaled or longer duration trials. But all trials should be designed to anticipate possible impacts and prevent escalation where possible. If at any stage you do not succeed and are able to say yes to either of these criteria, then you would not move on to the next stage of the stage gate. Ultimately, however, the framework is aimed to provide accessible guidance to people to conduct field trials and help with ongoing learning of OAE as an MCDR method, but without compromising on environmental safety. So with that, that's everything I'd like to say, so thank you very much.